Hello YouTube, this is Kai from Kai Labs, and today we're talking about the Instacode 2 update. So on first sight you see there is a lot of new things here. We have a 6th track. In Instacode 1 version 1 we only had 5 tracks. Now we have a 6th track, and you already see that there is something about drums. Yes, we now have the possibility to create drum tracks, and we also have up to 8 different scenes, which might be different versions you experiment on, or you could also use them for the different parts of your song you want to create. In version 1 I often used different versions, as you can see here, of the same melody or the same progression to make this happen, and now I only need to use those scenes. And yeah, let's have a look how this sounds. And so on. As you can see, this is really a nice thing with the different scenes, but there is something even more important in the new version, and you will see it here in another part of the interface. We have now much more scales than before. I may remind you that we only had major, minor and harmonic minor, and now we have melodic minor, classical descending, Spanish, Arabic, and blah blah blah. A lot of different scales, and I really love the implementation of Dorian, because Dorian usually gets you really nice results, as you just heard. And it might also help you when you bought some of these expansions from W.A.Production. These expansions usually are only handcrafted MIDI packs. They usually don't really work with the Go button in Instacomposer. But now you just analyze the MIDI and find out what scale it is used in, and you can just adjust Instacomposer, and now you can create new tracks for this, for example, cinematic expansion or for the epic expansion or whatever. So this is really a nice touch. So what we also have is more something visual, that is a chord helper, so that you can just look, okay, how does this chord look like, and you can work with that. And you can also see which notes are in your chosen scale. We also have a new pad mode, and pad mode 2 is a mixture between chords and pads. So that means it will be much richer. For example, if I just make the go here, you see there's the lower part is the chords, and the higher parts are the usual movements of the pads, and that is really nice. So, but talk is cheap. So I would like to show you how this works. So we go on default and everything is empty now. So, but you can see I already have the drums mode, and I would like to use the new pad mode. And now we are choosing our new scale. And as you know, I like Dorian, so we choose Dorian, D Dorian. And now we have to generate our chords progression. But before we do that, I would like to show you something. As you can see, certain chords are marked in bright green. And those chords are the chords that belong to our scale, our chosen scale. Okay, but we don't have to do this manually. We just go on generate chords. And as you can see, there are already some nice chords, but we can go very exotic here. As you can see, you can have basic chords, which would generate really basic chords, as you can see. And the higher the value of this style, the higher the probability for more exotic chords. And I just put it on 1, which is 100% probability, and then I generate the chords. Okay, as you can see, we have now 4 chords in our 4-bar progression. And now let's just generate some nice melodies. Okay, there we have it. And as you can see, we have our pad 2 here, and here we can, this is not really something new. In Instachord you can add the bass note, and you can also choose, that is new, the wide mode. And then we just generate the 4th track new. So, and here you see the bass notes, and as you can see, the chords and the pad notes are, yeah, a little bit more apart through the wide mode. Okay, let's listen to it. So this sounds really nice, and because it sounds so nice, I just want to create different versions of it. So I just copy this scene into another scene. Paste scene. So these 2 scenes are totally identical until now. And I can just now change something here. For example, I just could blend this out like that. And if I want to play this live, it might be a little bit tedious to just click on scenes. So I just can have key switches here. So I go on MIDI learn and yes, okay. Now scene 1 can be triggered with C3 and MIDI learn. And this scene can be triggered like that. But if you want to do that like that, you have to make this soundless like that. And again. So this is a nice addition. The key switches and scenes and all that stuff, and the new scales. I have to tell you, this is, for me, this was really something I was really happy about, especially the new scales. And they also added something that I really find interesting, and that is this dial, sustain. And sustain, what does it do? It extends the generated notes to fill out silences. So as you can see, we have here a lot of sustain in it, but we could change that, for example, to 0. No sustain at all. But now I would have to generate new notes to just get this adjustment. But they made something new here, and this is this new post switch. And as you can see, suddenly it's much shorter. Okay, and now let's have a look into the new drum section. I use a percussion preset in my Unify from Plugin Guru. Obviously, this is a very simple drum track, but we can change that. For example, like that. These are only MIDI notes. You have to really find the right set and to adjust it so the MIDI notes play something meaningful. But that applies to everything in Instacomposer. Okay, there's a lot of different presets in here, but I won't play them. You can play them yourself. The presets are not really important. You have to do your own thing like I did already with my version 1. And I really love it to generate new presets. And I mean, if you listen to this here, this is already really nice. I'm really excited to have this new version, but there is also room for improvement. When I saw Instacomposer the first time, I thought there must be more in it, and my list I made was I need much more scales than only major, minor and harmonic minor, and they addressed that. That is really great. But what we don't have is MIDI import, so that you can just use MIDI that you created in your DAW or in other tools and, build on this. You can't do that. And this applies especially for progressions. If you, for example, created a progression in Scalar, you have to implement this progression by hand, like, this. Yes, you can do that. It's not really hard or so, but it would be much easier if you could just import progressions. That would be really nice. What I also miss is that the other tools of the Insta series, like Instacore 2, for example, do not really work with Instacomposer. They don't know from each other that they are there. Just imagine what could happen if you create a nice progression here in Instacomposer 2 and you could just, use this same progression in your Instacore 2. That would be nice. And also, what I'm also missing is rhythmic patterns for blues, funk, EDM. And at the moment, expansions are handcrafted MIDI packs. But it would be much nicer if you get something that programs Instacomposer for you, so that, for example, you get your cinematic themes or epic themes or your tropical themes through these expansions. But no, at the moment it's just handcrafted MIDI packs. I will shoot a video about this expansion thing because I think it's really important, and I know W.A.Production is a company that listens to its users, so I'm sure they make something happen here. Okay, that's it for today. I hope this was insightful for you, and have fun with Instacomposer too. And thank you very much for buying me a coffee. Bye bye.